Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it is a pleasure to be here with you all. Um, Want to give God praise for being faithful to all of us. It is always a great time to talk about our country. And so let me welcome each and every one of you to the Action Required Media. And this is Let's Talk Liberia. We are here to talk about national issues. But of course, we do it from a biblical perspective. And so we want to welcome you. I'm happy to have with me, as always, Minister Jesse Kramer and Honorable Moses Simbe. We will be talking about very important issues regarding our country, things that have happened during the course of the week. And so we want you to, follow us, send us your text messages. Let us hear from you on how we can improve our platform, and also we want you to get engaged in, the conversation, because again, we only have one country, and when we all are able to raise our voices, talk about the ills of our society, and then provide solutions to the many problems we have, we all do it in recognition of, that we need a better country. So I want to thank you for, joining us. Let me welcome my co-host and um, Honorable Singbe. Mr. Kumar, God bless you. Welcome.
How are you, sir? How are you, viewers? Hope you guys are doing good. Honorable Moses, how's your day going so far?
My day is going great. Day is going great. Honorable Singbe, God bless
Yeah,
you. Welcome, sir.
yeah, yes, sir. Thank you very much, and I appreciate the opportunity to just have a discussion regarding, as you mentioned earlier, about our beloved country and some of the challenges that our people are facing. And today, being a day of the Saturday, and maybe we can focus on the activities during the week that have come and gone, and we encourage people to share and be a part of the discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. Today is February 19, 2022, and this is an edition of our podcast on the Action Required Media, Let's Talk Liberia. Gentlemen, we have a lot of things that have happened over the course of the week. But before we go into those discussions, we heard about the death of one of the statesmen of our country, uh, the former interim president, Dr. Amon Sawyer. We heard over the week that Dr. Sawyer passed away. So we just want to, number one, on behalf of the the Action Required Media family, we want to extend our profound condolences to his family. His death is uh, is is actually you know a reflection of what life is all about. We are all not here forever. There will come a time that we have to leave, and so uh, we mourned our loss, what we remember Dr. Sawyer. But I want to use this opportunity to say that that is one of the things we don't have control over, and that is when we leave this earth. And that's why we always have to keep our life and our connection to our Maker, because He is the only person that determines how long we stay here. But I want to bring you in on Armo Singwe. Um, what can we remember about the late Dr. Sawyer. What are some of his contributions, or what are some things that our audience can actually remember about him?
Well, they call him Professor. We that were young, and I got to know the name Emma Sawyer. It became a frequent and notable name in Liberia because of his contribution to the educational sector as a professor at the university. And during his tenure at the university, as you guys may already know, and other people out there know, that we had quite a bit of anti-government sentiments at the university. And they started doing the Tarbert administration, and it went through the coup and through Doe administration. And so he was one of the father who kind of mentor student to kind of bring the sense of awareness when it comes to the political environment in Liberia. He was very outspoken. He made his contribution to the Republic of Liberia in many different aspects, as you mentioned, to the point of being interim leader. He was part, and maybe I could say, I believe he was one of the original founder, if not the founder, of the Moja group at the University of Liberia, Movement for Justice. Okay, and that Moja group was very, very outspoken and challenged the government in many different aspects when we talk about justice. Today, that challenge still remains the same. After all those years, I'm talking about 60 years ago, really, when those things started to surface. So he would be highly missed, but he would also be remembered. And that I also extend my deepest, as you stated, condolences to his family, to some of his mentees, who in turn mentored me myself and passed on the knowledge that he shared with them. And that, I hope that his memories can be a blessing to Liberia. So when we speak of Emma Sawyer, we need to look at more, extract from it most of the positive. And I'm sure no man is perfect, but he did the best he could in the positions that he were in to really bring some sense of justice into the country. And he would be greatly missed for his many, many, many contributions. And the only thing is that, as you said earlier, we all got to go that path. But at least you were here to see some of those things unfold. We talked about democracy that brought Ellen to office, and now brought Mr. Weah to office. And I think he was a strong contributor to those steps that Liberia took, and where Liberia is today.
Yeah, and there are a lot of the young generation in Liberia that might not, be familiar with who Dr. Sawyer was. Most especially because during his time in office, the country was divided between Sweet Liberia and Greater Liberia. For those of the people that were behind, the line, as we refer to it during the war, in Chad State jurisdiction, and they were in Greater Liberia, they did not actually experience the regime of Amon Sawyer, and so a lot of them are not really familiar with who he really was. And so I appreciate, you throwing light on, who this great icon of Liberia was. And of course, it's a great loss, but we cherish the life and space that he, he shared, we have shared with him. And we want to give God praise that a leader of that magnitude came from our country that many people, can emulate. We have to focus on the positive because he have made a lot of positive contributions to our country. No one is perfect. No one is perfect. But
Yeah.
each time like
Uh,
this, we look for the positive contributions, of people,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
when you are able to impact just one person's life, that is positive. But Amos Sawyer went beyond that, as you mentioned, Moses. He went beyond that, and so we are grateful, that a leader of that nature came from our country. But let me give Minister Krumah, some time if he uh, has something to share on that.
Yeah, I don't know what made you think I was too young to know our former, peace ambassador, if I will call him. But I got a personal story that I remember quite in my early refugee days in Ghana. I think it was somewhere around '93 or so. I remember a group of Liberian dignitaries went to Ghana. I think it was '93 as a young boy being in Ghana as a refugee. Being the president of my class at the time, you know, and a group of us were soon they had gone to Ghana for some kind of peace talk, right, for Liberia, and you know, some delegates, Ghanaian delegates, decided to take some of the refugees, young men to go to Accra, and this happened, I think, at the one of the conference centers in Accra, and being the leader of my class at the time, I was fortunate to be one of the leaders, and we drove, went to Accra, we sat there, ate, and just to see the doctor, Emma Sawyer at the time, I believe he was the interim president, yeah. And so when he came, and he was what I remember at the time, being a young boy, I was very, very observant, First thing that caught my attention was his humility. He was very humble. He came to all of us, shook our hands, and he said, "Oh, you do good." I remember personally that to me. And he said, "Oh, you are all the president of your class, right?" He said, "You have become president of Liberia too now." And that I still remember, I must extend my condolence to the family first. Liberia has lost a hero in my opinion. And when we talk about decentralization, this whole decentralization talk in Liberia, the doctor was one of the men who was championing that cause, and to also champion the peace of Liberia at the time, he was very instrumental. I just want to, it's a big loss, to our nation, and we were missing big time. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Moses, you wanted to say something?
yeah, I just wanted to say that, as I remembered um, Dr. Sawyer, I need to also take into account as a young man growing up in that era of the 70s and 80s. And I can tell you there are quite a bit of people that stood up. And he's in the category with someone like Albert Port. Albert Port was someone who was who was an advocate for civility. And what Albert Port did, he wrote all kinds of, literature to educate people. And he never accepted a position from the government. He refused. When they tried to bring him into government, he said no. And he was like a one-man army who were exposing government on issues. And then later came people like Baca Matthew and Tukwana Tipode, who stayed, alive, H. Burma family. These are all the guys that during the time that really led some of the movement. And they were really outspoken. But Ibn Sawyer was an elite person of that group. He stood out because he navigated his knowledge in many different ways. And I think it was good when he became interim leadership and tried to mend the relationship between the rebel factions. I think he played a pivotal role in that aspect. And if it wasn't for him being in that role, who knows what would have been today? So people need to reflect on that. that interim government that came in, and you talk about, the two sectors of Liberia and sweet Liberia, and and all of that. We really need to reflect on that, and I think we need to start writing our history so that the next generation coming can see where we were, and then they'll define where we need to be.
Yeah.
But it's good that
And,
we're
and
having this conversation.
yeah, and in addition to that, I think during the President Salih's administration, he also served as, I think, either the chairman or the president of the Good Governance
Governance,
Commission. Yeah.
yes,
So
good governance.
he has been involved in the public sector. He has served his country in so many positions. We just want to bless God for his life, for his contributions to our country. Um,
And one of the things, let me just say this quick. Uh, people say when people pass, and that's when we say all the good things about them. But we don't want this show to be something that we praising Dr. Sawyer. We just, remembering
Remembering,
him
yes,
for
legacy.
what his contribution to our country.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think people need to. I think we want to tell people to value that.
yeah.
exactly.
I agree.
Well, thank you.
Agree with you.
Thank you for saying that. Okay, we have to transition now and go to
Yes.
politics. We have few things to talk about, but I want us to begin with the obvious, and that is
Okay.
the exit of the UP from the CPP.
Ah.
Oh my goodness! Why are you going to start with that?
Let's get out of the way. That's a big.
Well, where is it, gentlemen? Let me say this. What I watch, okay, the speech that I watched Ambassador Boaga delivered. I watched Ambassador Boaga deliver that speech, and I thought to myself, I was like, this is not the old man that I know. This is not the old man that I have sat with, talked with. The man that mounted a podium after the 2017 election, one of the contentious election in our country, that went, and the first time in our political history for another political leader to to give a concession speech and congratulated another person. The first time in our political history for that to happen. The man that I saw that did that said, nobody will use my name to share Liberian blood. He was not the person that I saw delivered a speech exiting his political party from the CPP. Gentlemen, when I saw that, the question I asked myself was, what is going on? Who is influencing Ambassador Boakai? Because that is not the old man that I know. That is not the man that I have talked to, that I have sat with and have talked to. He did not seem to be the person that I have come to admire. So please, you help me to understand what is going on. What exactly is going on? And let me begin with you, Honorable Singbe. What is going on?
Well, it's not a laughing matter. Let me say here, and I say unequivocally, when I heard of the CPP, I challenged people to do research and find out where, because the motive of the CPP was to bring all the other political parties, to bring four political parties together to remove the sitting president. But they were going to keep their own unique identity and allegiance to their individual manifesto. And I told them, I have not seen that anywhere in the world. In my part of participating in political science, in my learning within the area of political science, and I was very, very skeptical about the success of that. Having said that, that doesn't mean it would not succeed, but I have some doubts. Now, let's come to the old man, to Ambassador Borkai. As you rightfully said, this is someone who said in a concession speech that he didn't want no blood on his hands because he anticipated how he contested that election, this last election, people were getting ready to get on the street and it was going to really create an uprising.
Right.
And because of that, he concerned for the good of the country, for the future of that country. And I can tell you, Pastor Water, you called me a few times offline to ask me questions about why do I think Ambassador Bonkai wasn't speaking with all the things that were going on with the lawsuit and all that stuff with that. The Ambassador Bonkai that I know was bothering, really bothered by the fact that he tried his utmost. I think when he was giving that speech, I felt like he was really grieving of the disappointment to the Liberian people that the CPP could not move forward. And that's why he gave the speech. He was not himself because he was very much disappointed. He was committed to the CPP. He was the last to take over the chairmanship. Everyone that became a chairman in their times, he respected them. He attended a meeting. He did everything he could do to maintain the collaboration. But when he became president, when he became chairman, things started to fall apart. And he tried. He reached out. That's why he didn't want to say anything earlier. With all the lawsuit, with the Urea Cummings lawsuit, he did not. And these are things that I'm saying from my own estimation and perspective. He was very much disappointed in the leadership of the CPP, as he mentioned. And that's why he left it open and said, we're going to work with other political parties. And many of you out there, and people took that into a different mindset and said, oh, they're going to create another collaboration. That's not what he meant. He meant there has to be the meeting of the minds with those who share similar ideas to really bring that country back to try to do something for the interests of the Liberian people. But you are right when you say it wasn't the Ambassador Borkai. He was very disappointed that the CPP could not move forward. And I think that's the reaction that he was given in some nutshell. And it was painful for him to make that announcement.
Moses,
and you know that he's being quiet.
Moses, before I bring Minister Kroma in, let me say this. And I want to ask you this. One of the credentials that Ambassador Bwaka always boasts of is that he is the guy that is able to resolve a dispute when there is one. Before he became chairman, the CPP already had a lot of problems under the chairmanship of Yomli Kaka Lawrence. He was familiar with exactly where the CPP were and the problem the CPP was going through before he became chairman. I remember when he came to the United States here, one of the things he said was that Upon his return to Liberia, the CPP were going to be okay. He was going to bring the parties together, and he was going to resolve everything that was going on within the CPP. Okay. But that is not an issue, because an institution or an organization like the CPP, of course, there, there are differences. There have to be differences. But the way in which people resolve those differences speaks a lot to their maturity, their leadership, and the very commitment that you spoke about. So this is my question to you. Honor the chairmanship of Benana Ure, the CPP were intact. Almost Alexander Cummings, there were problems in the CPP when it came to which candidate to feed in a particular county or in a particular district. Of course, there were problems, but the CPP did not dissolve, or people did not leave the CPP. I guess Honorable Cummings have to make some. He have to make some personal sacrifices, even with his own candidates. Why? Because he wanted the CPP to stay intact. Yomri Kanka Lawrence, of course, the CPP had a lot of issues. She did not leave. Omro Bwaka X was the chairman, and under his chairmanship, he pulled out of the CPP. You want for people to believe that he was committed to the CPP and that he tried his hardest and things didn't work. What does that say about the very credential he talked about when he said he is the guy that can unify the country and that can solve problems? What does that say about that?
Well, you see, and sometimes we deduce from these statements that these politicians make and our leaders make based on the actions of them. But look at his history. This man, everywhere he's worked, he's brought people together. He's you. You see, when you're a leader and your charisma, you have a certain MO that you use to bring people together. Don't forget, in as much as there were people reaching out to him to speak out when Benin Ayure first left the CPP, and then immediately filed a lawsuit against Cummings, everybody wanted him to react, to respond, to say something about that. And I can tell you, outside of what people wanted, there were efforts being made by him as chairman to try to address those issues. He visited in the United States. He met with all members of the parties. The Unity Party had in a fight issue. He tried to resolve it. I think that has been resolved. He met with people from ANC. He met with people from the Liberty Party. During his visit, he had strong supporters to those political parties he met with. Those are some of the tools he was using. Going back home, and that's what they say, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't force the horse to drink. So that's what I mentioned, and I agree with you that he wasn't the same person. Because what he was saying, and his inner self, he was going through a lot of pain to say that he couldn't deliver that. And that's what we call a leader. That when you go to say certain things, you gotta take the tough decisions. That's what makes you a leader. There come a time, and everybody would not agree with you. Would not agree with you. But for the betterment of the country and to move forward. And you're right. During Yomri Kanga, there were confusion, but they stuck together. And I'm sure he played a role in that. During Benin Ayure, who was the first chairperson, he worked with them. And that was the time they were putting this whole thing together, the infancy stage. And during Mr. Cummings. And Cummings did some things that wasn't acceptable to all the parties involved with the CPP, but they stuck in there. And under his leadership, he called meeting. He said in the thing yesterday, in the statement on Wednesday, every meeting he had called under his chairmanship, Mr. Cummings refused to attend. He refused to attend. How do you resolve issue when the other party is not involved? You cannot. You cannot. And I can tell you that Cummings, requested a certain document at a certain time before he could attend the meeting. He received a document, but still did not attend the meeting. I don't want to go into that. But the fact of the matter is that you said it in the introduction. Ambassador Buckeye was not the Ambassador Buckeye you know. And he felt real bad that the CPP was at a disappointing position to deliver what the Liberian people need. And that's what he said. He's going to continue to work with all the other political parties and the groups out there and other people to see if, and that focus is going to be to remove this sitting leadership so that they can put the right kind of leadership in there. And I can tell you, if it comes to the...
Yeah, let me bring Minister Kroma in. Minister Kroma.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to, if you can,
yeah,
to just briefly just tell us what is your understanding of the problems in the CPP that caused the Unity Party to exit. Because listen, what has happened in the CPP is not just yesterday's problem.
no.
These things, we have talked about this over and over. But a lot of people describe this problem as being because Honorable Cummings has presented himself as a candidate for the standard bearership of the CPP, and Honorable Buaka and the Unity Party don't want to go into primary with Honorable Cummings. That's why they are exiting the CPP.
Come on now.
What tell us what is your
understanding? Hold on.
Come on now.
What is your understanding of this problem?
So let me just say it, right. I'm not going to butter this bread here. I will not do that. I refuse to do that on the show. First of all, any party or any coalition that decides to come together in distrust or with some sort of untruthfulness, that party is bound to. It's just a matter of moment. I've been saying this thing from the time, but let's just go straight to JMB issue. A man who I've grown to respect, right? Again, we've all have said it. But I wasn't surprised to hear his announcement or the speech that he gave. Nothing against the old man. I said it on this platform times without number. That it was just a matter of time that this plug was going to be removed. But for me, this is what I saw. Having seen a JMB who, from all the different from his predecessors, right, as chairman of the party or as chairpersons, his predecessors. When I saw JMB giving that speech, what it said to me, and again, thank God I don't affiliate with any party in Liberia. I mean, you've been muted this whole time, only for people to hear your voice quitting. That's my opinion. That's what I saw. Only for people to hear your voice saying, "I pull the plug on a party that we all vowed that we would keep together, regardless come what may." For the only time that all Liberian people will hear you is to come out publicly and full of plug. That I didn't see much of a leadership role. That is my opinion. I didn't see that. I wasn't surprised, but then at the same time I was little bit disappointed in a JMB, given that he maybe behind the scene I don't know, but if he couldn't governize, he couldn't, I don't know what he did now as far as uniting, making sure this party stuck together. I didn't see much from him publicly. Anything you do behind the scene, if you don't see it publicly, is equal to zero. That's my opinion. So I don't see. I'm not surprised, but at the same time, if you cannot hold a simple party together, then the country, I don't know what you still running for. I'm sorry if I step on anybody.
Well, let me ask you
one second. Honorable Singbe, I'm bringing you in right now. I know you wanted to jump on the statement, the question that I was asking. Okay, that is in the public. That's what a lot of people are saying. Okay, and I think it is very important for us to address that. But this is my question to you, Omosingbe. Were you certified with the leadership on Bobwaka show as chairman of the CPP?
Well, I'm not there to say whether I experienced anything with the leadership and whatnot, and I'm not in within the CPP. But remember when I initially spoke, I told you, I mentioned to you all that, I mean, and I stand to be corrected. But what I want to know is, where is there any yardstick that could be measured based on the formation of the CPP? People hopes were up, but people were very ignorant of politics. The people think fighting each other in Liberia is politics. It's not. And you go in places, people say, "Oh, I don't want to talk about your political issue." You're talking about issues that affecting individuals. And they say, "I don't want to be involved with politics." In your home, you have politics
Yeah.
going on. Everywhere. In the churches, you have politics going on. For the pastor to preach to you because he's trying to influence your belief in what he's saying, it's plain politics. So many of our people don't understand what that means. Secondly, when we say boycott, when we say the Unity Party withdrew from the CPP, where is the Liberty Party activities right now with the CPP? Over the past 6 months, the Liberty Party have had this inner fight and have not done anything with the CPP. Really. They've been having their inner fights. You guys know that. And talking about chairmanship. So, no political party there. When you look at the ANC, you had a fight between the ANC and Benin Ayure. And those are the three parties and the Unity Party that makes up the collaboration, the coalition. So when people say Unity Party is coming up, why didn't we ask the question, why did Benin Ayure get out of the CPP earlier?
Honorable Mother, I don't want to hold you. I want to hold you there real quick.
So
Yeah.
Minister Kuma, let him land. Let him land,
No,
please.
Honorable Mother is bringing other things that, in my opinion, I don't think fit these shoes as far as the DMB
You kidding me?
and yes, sir. Because if you're talking about a block or yardstick to measure this, you know, all of this inner fight have been there when it comes to the UP, the Liberal Party, it was there. And they decided to look at all of these things and decided to form a coalition.
But guess
Now,
what?
if you, yes, sir.
The biggest mistake there is that the Unity Party wanted to keep its own identity. The Liberty Party kept its own identity. The ANC kept its own identity, and did their thing and tried to win the coalition. And that's something that I keep saying have never worked anywhere in the world. My question to them is that once you keep your own distinct identity, then you're not forming a collaborative committee. If you dissolve all the political party and found one, and have one rule that everyone will come to, and you no longer have the ANC, you no longer have the Unity Party, then that I think would have worked. But from the time, in fact, the first thing is that the document that was published the first time, I challenged another person. When I saw the document, I asked, I said, this document, just the first page alone, I said, it has a lot of flaw in it. And that's what the minister spoke about. When people come in with deceptive minds, it never worked. And I think the old man, I would say, Ambassador Borka have had serious patience over the years that since the CPP was founded. And he succumbed to all the other leaders. He went to every meeting they called. So why when he called meeting, no one will come? Was it a fear? And Pastor Waldo, you brought it up. You made an assertion that Oh, they were saying that Cummings is propping to be what the standard bearer, and that's what the Unit Party don't like. It could be the other way. That Buckeye is the one that everyone wants to be the standard bearer, and ANC doesn't want it. Because in many of ANC meetings and gatherings, people have asked him directly, Cummings, if you don't become the standard bearer, what would you do? Would you accept the second? He said he's not doing anything but be the standard bearer. That was his
Well,
response.
yes, sir.
So
Thank you.
what
Thank
would
you
you do
for
from
letting
that?
me to
You
respond.
can draw
Thank you
your
for
own
letting me to
conclusion.
respond. Let me say
You can draw
this.
your own conclusion with that.
Well, okay. Let
And
me say
that's
this.
why, wait a minute. And that's why I hope we didn't talk about this first. I really wanted to talk about the bicentennial.
Go ahead,
We
Dr.
have
Walo.
time to talk about the bicentennial, hopefully. But let me say this, Honorable Lingbe and Minister Krumah. You see, I want to be balanced on the show. I want to be very fair on the show. Okay, and we have followed the dealings, the confusion, the problems, the statements of all political parties and political leaders in a CPP. Honorable Cummings had consistently said that I put myself forward to go to the primary. If I don't win the primary, I'm going to support whoever wins the primary. If Honorable Barker wins, I will campaign for him. I will do everything I can to make George Weah a one-term president. Honorable Cummings have been on record consistently have said that.
And Buckeye hasn't?
And Honorable Barker have now one day, one time mentioned that. In fact,
Has he
the
been
last
asked
time
the
that
same
T-Max,
question
the
in
last
public?
time that T-Max, one second, I will give you time to respond. The last time that T-Max asked him, he called Honorable Cummings a stranger. Liberian people don't want a stranger. That's how you refer to
Come on now.
Honorable Cummings. The point I'm making.
Dr. Wolo, I hope you were opportune or you had a chance to also listen to without forgetting off to listen to Collins' previous speech that he has given,
Thank you.
calling JMB name as well. He
Well,
has called a JMB a man who is not ready. Yes, it's on record. So this
okay,
was
so
written or typed.
you cannot deny that Honorable Cummings had consistently said that if he goes to the primary and he
Mm.
doesn't win the primary, he will campaign and support Honorable Buakai when he wins the primary. The only thing Honorable Cummings requested was let the primary be free and fair, right?
Okay.
The
Dr.
point
Wolo,
I'm making here is
few
this. One
seconds, please. When
second,
you done,
I will give you
when you
time for
done,
you to come
when
in.
you done, when you done.
Yeah, please. Uh, the problem here is this. The problem here is this. Why they were in the process of formulating ideas for the primary, people keep reaching out to Honorable Cummings to go as vice president or vice presidential candidate to Honorable Buakai.
Mm-hmm.
And Cummings have consistently said, we are in a context here. How can I sell myself short where I want to be the head of the ticket? How should I submit myself to being the second? Let the person who becomes the standard bearer has the free will to choose his or her VP. We shouldn't impose a VP on anybody. And Omobaka himself has said that. This is what he said in his interview with T-Max Girate on the 50-50 show. He said that one of the reasons that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf couldn't support him was because of the same issue. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf tried to impose a VP candidate on him. And he told her that nobody imposed him on her. So he was going to make his own decisions. That's exactly what Honorable Cummings said. And Honorable Baka agreed to that. So it did not, it doesn't make sense to me for people to tell me that Honorable Cummings should go as vice presidential candidate to Honorable Baka when Honorable
What,
Cummings is putting himself
Mr.
forward
Watt,
to contest
Pastor
for
Wallo,
the top
Pastor
of the
Wallo,
ticket. Let him go in the context. If he
Pastor Wallo,
loses, let Honorable Baka be able to choose his running mate. That is democracy. That is fair. That is what they
Pastor
agreed
Wallo.
to. And that was not what people wanted to see happening.
Okay, Pastor Wallo. You continue to say people went to Cummings. What people go in the wait a minute.
No, I can
When
give
you
you a
started
name
the
right
show,
now.
when you
Honorable
started the
Ure.
show,
Honorable Ure said he did.
wait a minute.
Honorable Ure said he did.
Wait a minute. Honorable Ure is an individual who owns a political party within the CPP. He has the right to his own opinion. He has the right to reach out to try to see how he can test the water.
Oh yeah,
Why?
but you are the first person.
Wait a minute. When you started the show, you unequivocally said that the man that you know in Ambassador Boykai was the man who conceded to a corrupt election and because he didn't want bloodshed. So he has a proven history of succumbing to democracy. Does Cummings has a history of doing that? I have nothing against Cummings. I don't support, I'm not a member of any political party. And I've said that, and everybody that knows me knows that I'm not a part of any political party. I support a candidate, but I'm not affiliated with a political party. Because my political beliefs subscribe to that candidate's beliefs and his way of governing or his ways of leadership. That's why I support that candidate. But pray God, tell me, if Benayoun goes to Cummings and make an assertion to Cummings, what does that have to do with the CPP? It's already been written in black and white that they're going to have a convention, a primary. And there was no if and but about it. Whether somebody went to him or not, the primary was going to take its course. That was not, that's why I told you from my own observation, that's why Ambassador Boyka was very disappointed in making that announcement within itself. Because what I thought he was putting first is the Liberian people. Because the Liberian people were very, very happy when that CPP idea came about. And the person who really introduced the CPP is not even part of the CPP. One of the person who tried to mastermind it, who brought about the idea, it has not been mentioned. And the Samuel Kofi Woods. Samuel Kofi Woods, who is a statesman when we talk about statements. So the CPP thing, I told you from the beginning, I knew it wasn't going to work. I told people openly.
But
I beg you, for the interest of time, let's go to the other important things because we can talk about the CPP again tomorrow when things start to unfold.
No, I agree. But let me make the point, and then Mr. Okroma can end us on the CPP thing. Let me say this. When these political leaders speak, I take great interest in it, right? Because they are not just leaders of political parties; they are leaders in our democracy. When a man like Omo Ure, Benana Ure speaks, we can say that he is just an individual. There are a lot of people that listen to Benana Ure. There are a lot of people that follow him. He is a political leader of a political institution. But more important though, Bernard Ure was the first person that declared his support for JMB. So whatever he does within the confines of the CPP, he is doing it in the interest of JMB, his candidate. He is not running for president. So when JMB, no, listen, when JMB goes to Alexander Cummings and say, wait for your time, go as VP to Joseph Boakai. When Boakai terms is over, then we can think of you now heading the CPP for you to run for president.
That's what we call negotiations.
Exactly.
That's what we call
Exactly.
backdoor
No. Listen,
negotiations.
I agree with you.
The
I
CPP
agree
is
with
not
you.
excluded
But
from it.
at the same time, when the person says, in that negotiation, when the person says, no, I am not going to undercut myself, I am going for the top position, it is not arrogance. It is not to be demeaned as the way it is being taken. Go
How?
into the process, go into the process, go to the convention, go into the primary, and conduct a free and fair primary. When when Bwaka wins the primary, then when Cummings don't support Bwaka, then we say, well, he said you are going to support the winner from the primaries. Now, yes, and now he's bailing out. But that's not what happened.
Hey, my brother.
What happened here is, in the process of these negotiations that want to lead the CPP to a primary, Bwaka put out.
My
The
brother.
one person, 1 second, the one last person that the Liberian people are looking forward to. The one last person, Minister Kroman said it. The one last person that the Liberian people are looking forward to bring stability to the CPP, to make sure that in the mix of these internal wranglings, that the CPP can still work. He was the person that pulled out the plug. And today the CPP is dead. We want to bring Cummings for it.
So you're telling me Joe Buckeye, Ambassador Buckeye is the only person who runs the CPP?
No, he was the chairman. He was the chair.
No. You're telling me because when Benny and you were like, okay, take for instance, the CPP has stayed there with Liberty Party and what you call them and the ANC. Why can't they move forward?
Of course, they're going to move forward.
I would ask you. No. Because of the statement you just made, we had the same scenario in the United States, the Democratic Party. When Al Gore was running, he chose not to use the record of Bill Clinton. He did that. The Democratic Party still survived and went through the election process. So when Benny Nayure stepped out and negotiated with him and Cummings took it to a different level, I don't want to feel like I'm against Cummings. Because there are things that are happy with Cummings that I am so now happy about. With the whole lawsuit with Benny Nayure and Cummings. I think that whole thing was wrong. And I think we talked about it briefly before. Chance to talk, man. You know? So please don't stop putting more water on the fire. More gas on the fire. So
I thank you. The reason I'm speaking like this almost simple. I'm surprised at the way things have been going under the leadership of Ombo Boakai.
Yeah, listen. Listen though. Listen. One thing though, in that speech, the ambassador repeatedly said he called meetings, and Honorable Cummings never attended any of the meetings.
But you
until
saw the
Ben
ANC.
you
You saw the
now
ANC
listen now. Wait
response.
a
The
minute,
ANC
wait a
denied
minute,
all of
wait a
that. We
minute.
can't dwell on
Oh,
that.
Pastor Wallo, just give me a second. You got the CPP that made up of 4 organizations, 4 political parties. You're the chairman. You call the meeting and you got only 2 coming in. The third person refuses to come. Another person dropped out, who is Bernard Urey. So now you know that the ANC representative is not there. And if Cummings doesn't come, nobody from the ANC comes to the meeting. So now the meeting will be between the Unity Party and Liberty Party. We know what's going on with the Liberty Party. They're divided. So who do you think will represent the Liberty Party at the meeting that Joe Buck called when what's his name? When Bernard Urey just stepped out and Cummings is no longer coming to the meeting. He called meeting, he's sitting there by himself. Come on now.
Yeah.
These are the
Well,
facts. These are the facts. So how
let,
do you continue to say there's a CPP
Let, let,
happening
let me let me come in
when
quick
that is
so that
going
we can.
on, my brother? Come on. All right, so I end on that.
Yeah. It's been a
yeah,
good. It's been a
let me so come on,
it, it,
But
it's
Kuma,
been a
please close it
let end with
for
Minister
another
Kumar.
day.
of course, it's been a good back and forth. I'm enjoying this. But look, let me tell you something again. What I clearly see here, if you ask me now, I'm going to blame Commies 100% on this. I will
Thank
blame
you.
Commies. I'm not taking side. I'm
I'm
just
now going
giving
to give you the last
my
word then.
my. You will have to give it to me. And I tell you what, whenever you have a motive, sometimes if your motive doesn't fall in line with the rest of the people, most of the time it doesn't go well. What I see here when they show CPP, this whole coalition, right? The forgotten people were the Liberians because everyone had their own motive. So the Liberians were forgotten. Me myself must have this, and this is what I kind of look at comments from the corner of my eye. Nothing against this man. I'm just speaking my opinion here, right? Dr. Wallow, I must call your name on purpose. But you see, when you say this is what I want, and if I don't get it, I'm just going to support whoever gets it. For me, I see it from the corner of my eye, right? It's factual. The fact is, the meetings were called. Committee didn't even honor those letters or those invitations. This is proven. And the reason why I'm coming hard on Commies here, I'm seeing a missed opportunity for Commies. As good of a guy he is, the records are there. But I see a missed opportunity. Commies, when you come into this kind of run, and sometimes, honorable, we look at this democracy thing to practice it, sometimes we miss it. You know, whenever you want to run in a leadership office or in a for a leadership role, as far as looking at the presidency of a country, is no longer about you. That's how I see it.
Thank you.
It's no longer about you. I
Well said.
think the bar was already set that Cummings was looking at this presidential thing to the point where he didn't even recognize, and that's my personal opinion on what I've observed. He didn't even recognize who was the leader in the room, who was the experienced person that I could learn from in the room, but no, it must be me. Now, the reason why I'm saying this and to close is that when you have a JMB, now, look, Dr. Bono, I was in Liberia. Majority of the people on the ground was pushing for this JMB Cummings ticket. And Cummings knew that. What I mean, JMB go, Cummings, you support the man, learn from the man, and you will have that opportunity to jump on the chip. But I didn't see Cummings to want to accept that at the end of the day, who suffer because we all know that at this part, at this coalition stood, if it was going to stand, I didn't see that chance for a CDC to even crush this coalition of a JMB and Cummings. But no, who killed it? In my opinion, Cummings killed it. And I mean, you can knock me with any yardstick. Cummings killed it. He knew that that when people were hungry to see this thing come forth. But again, it must be me myself. Otherwise, then I will just support from a distance. It's like I'll just move my hand, but wherever you want me to do, I'll just do it. But you've not recognized that,
Okay.
look, man, let me give my time to this man, serve under him, learn from him, and that opportunity was it was open for him, but he missed it.
uh,
And I don't see any way forward
I'm
for coming to become president. Like, but you give me that time, but that's please. I hold
no,
the
no, no,
phone.
no.
But
I give you a
but
lot of time.
but
We're
I will
not
close
going
this.
back to
No,
Israel.
no, I will close on this and say those of you that are advising coming, including you, Dr. Wolo, with
I don't
all
advise
due respect,
Cummings.
those people
I
that
don't
are
advise
advising him,
Cummings.
you let him know that it's been a wasted, not wasted, but it's been a missed opportunity for him, and I'll close on that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
between if
Now
you can.
well, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. But let me say this, right?
Uh-oh.
If
Uh-oh.
yeah, what I gotta say, Omosenle, I gotta
Uh-oh.
say,
That's why you're the
if
host.
I just if I just take you by the statement you just made, that was exactly what was wrong in the CPP. And here is it.
You addressing to me, right? You talking to me?
Yes,
Yes.
I'm addressing your statement. The statement you just made,
Okay.
right? That the Liberian people were looking forward to having a Cummings Bwaka ticket. You know,
A
that
Baka
was what
coming
was
ticket. A Baka coming
yeah.
ticket.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, but that is what was wrong with the CPP. What was wrong with the CPP was that people had this notion that GMB should be crowned with the standard bearership of the CPP. That is the notion. And that was what Cummings disliked, that we are in a collaboration.
You
Listen,
see?
listen to me.
That's a one.
You see?
You are
Don't
digging
cut
a
me. But let me
hole.
end my statement. I
Go ahead,
listen
go
to
ahead.
you.
Sorry,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Uh, that was what Cummings and a lot of other people dislike. And here is it. Here is it. There could be a ticket with Cummings and Boakai, but let allow the process to play out. If Boakai wins the primary, he has the opportunity to call Cummings and say, you know
No
what?
one disputed that, Pastor Wallow. Pastor
One
Wallow.
second. No, 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 no,
You
no, no,
see,
no,
you
no.
keep going back to this thing.
I'm going to
It
end.
will extend this conversation.
No, no, I'm going to end. I'm going to end.
No, 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 no.
He,
Because I
he
want to
should have
respond
the
to what you just
opportunity.
said about the people.
Yeah. Well, that is what I'm saying. If let the process play out, let them go in a primary. If Bwaka wins, let him have the opportunity to call Cummings and say, run with me as a VP. Let Cummings make a decision. If the process play out and Cummings wins, let him have the opportunity to call GMB and say, run with me as a VP. Let us not presume or predict or or tell one party which is coming that Cummings have more experience than you. Cummings is more popular than you. Cummings are being in government than you. So go as VP to him. That is not a democratic way of doing things. And that was what was
Mr.
wrong in
Wallow.
the CPP.
Pastor
And that is
Wallow.
why a lot of people are looking at Cummings the way Minister Krumah just
Wow.
described. That is a wrong way of seeing the CPP to work. That was not what they agreed upon. If
So,
the
Pastor
Unity
Wallow.
Party, if the Unity Party was a party, Joseph Boakai is the standard bearer. He has all right to choose whosoever he wants to run with as his running mate.
That's a one. Let's go to the next
Let
topic
us
because this
let
is opening. It's clearly more questions for me, and we might stay
yeah,
on
the,
this
the reason
topic to the end of the day. And
the reason
so,
is opening more question for you is because you are only looking at that from a coming side. But
Pastor
why can
Wallow.
it not be Cummings and Bwaka ticket? Why it should always be Bwaka and Cummings ticket? Why?
Okay. Pastor Wallow. Let me say here, when Minister Krumah spoke, he said he observed in Liberia general mindset of the people. That's why the people take polls to feed the voters. And if you took a poll in Liberia, the poll were looking at Buckeye Cummings' ticket to defeat George Weah.
Again,
Why?
the
What? Well,
mindset.
listen now.
No,
No,
you
no,
see,
no.
go
That's
to
all.
the mindset.
Pastor Wallo. Pastor
It
Wallo.
was not the party
Pastor
that defeated
Wallo.
CDC in Monserrato. It was a
You're not
CPP.
listening to me.
Jaros
Pastor
didn't want the
Wallo.
election on the CPP ticket. It
Pastor
was not
Wallo.
Liberty Party.
Pastor Wallo.
With the
Pastor Wallo.
CPP, any candidate
Pastor
could
Wallo,
win.
you are being one-sided. That you're accused of being
Pastor
one-sided, but I
Wallo,
think you are
you
being.
want to be objective from the initial introduction of this program. You said you've been objective, and there's an
Yeah.
objective perspective.
Yeah.
So we're only trying to make some sense out of our points here. And every time you speak, you put some fire on some gas on the fire, so we got to respond. Now you keep saying the people should wait for the convention or the primary. Obviously. But in politics, that's how people begin to campaign and fill the water.
Yeah.
Nobody in the CPP said that there shouldn't be any convention, any primary. No one said that in the CPP. So for you to deduce from what the people are saying and keep making a point why the people say this and let them go to primary, nobody in the CPP have said that they're not going to go for primary. They're just going to take the people's word for it. And that was some of the negotiation that was going on between Ben-Ure and Cummings. And I think that because of some of the strong mind between the both of those parties, Ben-Ure acted to leave the CPP and sue Cummings. And you and myself had a conversation about it. I told them it was completely wrong. It was wrong. In fact, the way it's being handled is actually a civil matter, not a criminal matter. But again, that's another topic. So you are absolutely right. But what we cannot do, what I see you saying, is that people don't have the right to speak out and say, let me go for Cummings, and let me go for Buckeye and Cummings ticket. Nobody said anything about that. But like you said, and you see, when Ellie became the Senate bearer, what did she do? And she went and picked up Buckeye. When Buckeye won the primary in the Unity Party, what did he do? And he went and picked up his own vice president. Okay, so what makes you think that Buckeye, Ben-Ure, or Yembri, who was the chair for Liberty Party, is going to do any different from that? The primary should go on, but the people speaking should not have an impact on Cummings saying, no, nobody should say that to him.
No. That's not my issue.
I'm getting from you. That Cummings is not happy because he was
let me make myself clear. I'm talking about the mindset. Okay, I'm talking about the mindset, not the statement. I'm talking about the mindset. The mindset.
Well, then why are you holding the CPP? Why are you holding the CPP responsible for that? For the people saying these things?
No. I'm not holding the CPP responsible.
But you just said it.
I'm holding people that have that mindset that it has to be.
Don't they have the right?
One second. Of course, they have the right to think or to say that. But that is the problem in the CPP, right? The problem
is not
in
the CPP.
No, it's in the CPP. Okay, so let me ask you the question. Who are in the CPP today?
Nobody. The CPP
Cummings and the Liberty Party are staying in the CPP. Joseph Walker left and Ure left.
The Liberty Party is not in the CPP because they haven't.
The Liberty Party is still in the CPP.
How you can say Liberty Party is staying in the CPP?
Have you heard an official statement from Unity Party? The Liberty Party that they left the CPP? No.
They have two different groups in the Liberty Party. Who's gonna go to CPP meeting?
Well,
you got Yembri group and you got the what your name Belete group. Who's gonna go to the CPP?
Belete group.
Why Belete group?
Because they are the recognized group. They are the recognized group.
They're not a recognized group by the CPP.
No, they are the recognized group by Election Commission. The CPP does
not.
No,
not Election Commission. You see, that's what you gotta get it wrong. The Election Commission cannot dictate what happened in a political party.
No, they can regulate elections laws. And the
No,
election
the election
law
law got nothing to do with coalition.
Okay, so we are talking two different things.
Exactly.
So let me ask you, when they form the collaboration, where do they send the document?
What?
When they
They
form the
don't send a document
collaboration,
to nobody.
they file the document
You
with
send it to
NEC.
net. Yeah. Go ahead.
Wait.
And the reason
You
they
see, and
file
that was,
it to
and
NEC,
my brother,
the reason they file it to
and
NEC
guess
is
what?
because NEC is the one that regulates that.
Okay,
So
let me tell you
NEC
something.
has told the Liberian people that Musa Hassan Bilete is the recognized of the Liberty Party. So
Okay,
anybody
all right,
who
hold
is
on.
Let's
Okay,
say what the
any
topic
other
and move
person
on.
other than
please, let
Musa
me say the
Hassan
one thing.
Bilete, you
Let me
are
say the
doing it
one
at your
thing.
own risk.
Okay, Pastor Warren, let me say the one thing. That was the biggest mistake. The coalition should not be announcing anything because all of the, and that's when I said that this thing was not going to work from the beginning, because Liberty Party had registered with the election commission as a political party and it met all the criteria. All the four parties did the same thing. When the four party comes together and they introduce another document, they should have dissolved all of the other four individual documents. Should have been dissolved. They will be under one. That's the only way the Unity Party, the election commission have the right to regulate them.
Motive.
Yeah,
It goes
so
back to
everybody kept
motive.
their uniqueness. And that was why I said this never happened in any politics in the world. And I stand corrected if anybody can prove me wrong. I said that from the get-go. You don't form a coalition and keep your unique identity and your registration and think that it's going to work.
Well, Honorable Moses,
But anyway, let's go to something else.
the CDC,
Yeah, let's go to
the
Let's
CDC,
go,
the U,
my man,
the
let's go
UP,
to the important thing.
the CDC, the NPP, and the
We'll be on this topic
PDPL
for 1 hour.
did it.
We'll be on this topic for over an hour.
I saw this coming
Yeah.
though. I saw it coming, but you know.
That's why I said at the beginning,
You the host.
this was the wrong start.
Mr. Host, let's
Well,
go ahead.
Anyway, we're going to
yeah,
have that debate later on. We're going to
yeah,
keep this
yeah.
topic for next time.
We have to move. We have to move forward. We have 8 more minutes.
Please,
but we have to move forward. But thank you, guys. Thank you for the debate.
No,
I think
that's the honor. That's the honor. I want to make a quick. You said we have 8 more minutes. I don't know if Honorable Moses got at least another 15 minutes to spare. We can't just cut this on. We can chop on this commit or CPP issue and call it a day on the next. At least 2 other important topics and give us 8 minutes. I would beg you to if
yeah,
you
but
all have at least.
we have gone an hour 12 minutes now.
Yeah, that's why I mean it's not a viewers fault, man.
Okay, so let's stay on this topic and then we can do the other topics because the other topics were very important. The bicentennial and those things like that. I think those are things that people really want to hear about also as well. And some of the things that you had on there were very interesting. And I will close on this. I hope I'm not putting gas on the fire. But I was really offended. I was really offended by Cummings calling Boycott a failed leadership.
Wow, he did that?
Yeah, he did that. He did that in his statement. He said Boycott thing, the ANC leader has described a failed leadership in Ambassador Joseph Boycott.
So that was a response to the remark
from the coalition.
Minister Kuma, bring him in. Let him talk so we can understand what he's saying, please.
Wow.
No, that's what he said. He said, I'm reading it right here. Alexander Cummings has described as a failed leadership of Ambassador Boycott's decision to withdraw the Unity Party from the coalition political parties.
Okay, his withdrawal from the CPP. How would you describe that?
They all withdrew from the CPP, including Cummings. Cummings withdrew a long time ago when he refused to go to a meeting to be heard. No, seriously. It's been over 6 months, going on 7 months. And you know what? Boycott tenure for the CPP is almost over. It should be, I think, 8 months or 9 months.
You
And he
know,
has not attended, and Cummings did not attend that one meeting. So he
okay.
withdrew.
Let bring Minister Krumah in. Minister Krumah,
No, no, no,
how will you
no, no. Really,
describe the GMB leadership or the CPP?
No, no. Let me respond to what if you. Let me just go back. I'm very surprised. Again, maybe I missed it. Where so Cummings actually had a response to the remark
Yeah,
to
he
JB
responded. Yes.
speech.
Yeah,
I missed that. But
he,
but
he responded.
the only thing for me is the only thing is like no who's talking. I mean, when you
Yeah,
will not attend meetings and when you
right.
have the nerve, But let me leave it there.
I
Let me leave
know,
it there.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, let me leave it
You
there.
fire a
So you see,
police, so you're not going
you're
to
not
meet
going
with
to
that
respond to the
the
question.
man.
The question is
How will you describe GMB leadership or the CPP?
No, you can't
GMB
describe them. You
leadership.
can't.
Right now,
I can't
I saw a
describe it.
GMB. I saw a GMB
You
who
can't
quit.
describe it. What not?
I saw a JMB. I saw a JMB who quit from the floor. But at the same time, really, there was no party to even manage.
Thank
So
you.
there was no party to manage.
There was nothing
I
to
leave it at
manage.
that.
There was nothing
You
to
know,
lead.
gentlemen, let me tell you something. I'm happy. I'm having fun here.
It's
I'm a
fun.
simple say. There's no way to describe it.
You
Let's go to the
cannot
Boston
describe
Center for
it.
a minute. Let's
Why?
let's go
How
to the
you a lead?
Boston Center for
How
a
you a
minute.
leader? You call me the chair empty, then you a leader chair. Yeah, people are gonna come for you to lead.
There was nothing
Take
I'm a
that
it
we
same
could
way.
serious.
manage.
I'm a same way. I'm a same way.
Yeah.
If you are leading an organization and you called meetings and people don't attend that meetings, you have a problem.
You have a
No, no,
problem
no,
or they have
no,
a
no,
Yes,
problem.
you have a problem. Let
You
me
the
tell you
leader have
something.
to.
You know what leadership is about? Leadership is about influence, nothing more, nothing less.
That's the one I
If
beg
you cannot
to.
There's
exercise
some
your
more.
influence,
There's
one,
more to leadership than just that.
1 second. Well, anything other than you influencing people, then it becomes dictatorship. You have to influence people in your leadership.
But you can't
Okay.
dictate to them.
If if you call meetings and people are not attending,
What
that
do you
should
do?
tell you that there is a problem.
And what the problem?
Right. And then you have to address the problem.
You call the point to
You
address the
have
problem, they don't
you
show up. What
have
do
to
you do?
figure out what the problem is and you address the problem. If you say that because people are not attending my meeting, so I'm going to resign, you
You
have
can
a
That's
leave.
the one.
problem. You have a
That's the one.
problem.
That's the one. I have a quick question, please. I must ask this question, please, if you will. If you allow me at least
I
one
thought I
second.
was asking the questions, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just
You
want
can't
that's
be
not
asking
to
the
you per
question.
se. Yeah, I don't want to ask. I just want because I'm trying to understand where you're coming from when you say if you call a meeting, right, and people don't attend, then meaning you
Meetings.
the
Meetings.
meetings and people don't attend the meeting, meaning you the leader who called the meeting, there's a problem, right, with you. Is that what I'm understanding? So you will tell me that it's rather it's being respectful not to attend the meeting because you're trying to. So let me ask you: if I have a problem with you as a leader within an organization, with you, Dr. Wallo, who's the head of the organization, right? If you are calling a meeting because I have a problem with you, I must not show up to the meeting. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, well, let me say what I said again. And let me use the analogy
You
that you
you
just
you
used.
say if you call a
What
meeting
what you
and
gotta
people
give me
don't
time and
attend the
let me
meeting,
talk.
then there's a problem. Then
Yes.
there's an issue with you because then you what the word you use, you are not motivating enough for people to even come to the meeting.
Well, here is it. Here is it. Okay, here is it. If we were in an organization,
Uh-huh.
and then Umbo Singbe is our head. Every
Yeah.
time he called meetings, I don't attend. Every time he calls meeting, I don't attend. The
Yeah.
first thing that you register to him is, well, number one, maybe Pastor Waller is having personal problems, family problems, or there might be an issue. He reached out to me, right? He he reached out to me, or he reaches out. and then we talk about it. And then if I told him that I have problems with XYZ, it is his responsibility to make sure that that problem is resolved. He does not resign because I am not attending meetings.
But
Okay.
That
Dr.
is
Wallo, do
what
you
will
also
be
agree
it.
that the fact
Let
that
me
you
pull
do not
out,
attend,
let me pull out the Unity Party from the CPP because Cummings is not attending meetings. Who does that?
no, Dr. Wallo, I'm
You
just trying
kidding
to come
me?
from a point
You kidding me?
when
The CPP does it no longer exists. Why can't the United Party alone be the CPP? Everybody talking about the CPP. Let me say something. In the speech that Ambassador Barker gave, did he make reference to a meeting in Nigeria?
Ghana.
To Ghana? Did he make reference to a meeting in Ghana?
Yes.
With who?
With Cummings.
Why was that meeting, according to the speech he gave?
He was not the one who started the meeting.
No, listen, that's not what my question was. My question is, I didn't ask you who set up the meeting. I said,
Okay.
why was that meeting held in Ghana?
Well, I don't have enough information on that
Well,
meeting.
that's why I'm trying to give you the information now.
Okay,
To
go
reach
ahead.
a
I'm listening.
resolution. Now, the meeting was called in Ghana because before Barker came here, he called Cummings. In fact, he extended his stay in Liberia other than coming here. He told the people in Arizona he wasn't going to be here at a certain time because he had just taken over the CPP. And Cummings was in America. And he said, I'm going to postpone my trip or reschedule my trip because one party of the CPP is not here and I want to have my first meeting. Cummings returned to Liberia. And are good that people are going to hear this. Cummings returns to Liberia. They sent him the information for the date of the meeting. He said he was not officially invited. Now, you part of a thing, you led the same organization, host that meeting the same way. Ambassador Borkai, hearing that, wrote the letter that Cummings wanted him to write. He wrote the letter. They go into the meeting, Cummings did not show up. He comes here, he negotiated with his people. He told them, please let your mayor come to our meeting. We want to amend this thing. We want to resolve this thing. He's been out of here since when? Since 4 months ago. He's called series of meetings. Cummings still hasn't shown up. In the midst of that, Ure felt offended by it. He excluded himself. You know what's going on with Liberty Party. They're divided. They don't know who to recognize. Who is that? The CPP deals with the political party, not the election commission. So nobody can regulate. They had a document that they wrote as to the rules of the CPP. They themselves, all four parties agreed to it. And that's the role, that's the document. So when you started this conversation and said it was not the same boycott, that was the same thing. That's what I tried to explain. I tried to articulate on and say, from my own personal observation, boycott was not the same because he felt that the CPP, with the hopes of the Liberian people when they saw the formation of the CPP and the CPP did not work, that's why he spoke in the way that he spoke. But there were all efforts made on his speech. If he could be emotional, he was going to be emotional on Wednesday.
Almost same way. Let me tell you something.
You're coming for gas there, you know.
No. It's not gas. It's not gas.
All right.
Because some of the things you said, I agree with, except for the part that you keep talking about Cummings isn't being invited to meetings, he doesn't attend, and what of that. We cannot substantiate that because we don't have any proof of that. But I don't want to dwell on that. It was said. Yeah, but there are a lot of things that have been said. It doesn't make it to be factual.
It was part of. Let me say this. Let me tell you something.
No. Hold on.
When I think Cummings
spoke for 3 meetings.
No, wait 1 minute. What I
I
think
just want
coming
to
to
make one
do,
point. I just want to make one point.
but let me
You were
just make a
telling,
quick
sir.
thing, real quick. What I think coming should do is respond to the resignation and say what part he played in that and what part didn't he play in that. Other than saying Buckeye leadership was a failed leadership. That's it. I rest.
Okay.
I won't say anything anymore.
Okay. So yeah. Here's the thing. The reason I say that Bwaka, I saw him as not the man that I know is because of this. Uh, 4 5 months ago, we saw the Henry Costa, the George Lobo, the astute supporters, excluding you, of GMB calling for GMB to pull out of the CPP. This has not been GMB's decision. I saw him as someone that had been coerced to pull out of the CPP. That's what I said, that this is not the man that I know.
I see.
Because the GMB that I know, who said before he left the United States, I am going back. I will make sure I bring the CPP together, and a CPP going to work. There is this Unity Party. I want you to understand this, though. I want you to understand this. I ran on the Unity Party ticket in 2017.
I know that.
Okay. So I'm familiar with the dealings of the Unity Party.
Good.
I talked to people in the Unity Party. There was somebody who told me, and I say, I promise you, the Unity Party will not exit the CPP. In fact, there are things that are being worked out right now for the CPP to come together.
Good.
That's why I was disappointed when I saw that Honorable Baka gave that speech that he gave to pull Unity Party out of the CPP.
Well,
because that's not him. He's been coerced.
Okay.
In fact, 1 second before you come in, when Benana Ure left, when Benana Ure and his party left, what did Benana Ure say in his interview with Ombo Costa? He said that we are making negotiations. People are coming to us for us to form a new collaboration.
Okay.
They are coming to us for us to form a new collaboration, and this collaboration we are going to form. When you come to us, you have to know and agree that JMB is the top of the ticket. So the problem they had was he being the top of the ticket in the CPP. So I am not just talking because I am for talking sake, or not because I'm supporting police and what of that. I am talking because of what people have said.
So is Baka should be blamed on what you said? You
Sunday, you keep asking this question. Everything that Ure is doing, he is doing in the interest of GNB.
So supposed to be for president. So Baka should say, no, I don't want your support?
No,
that's what you're telling me?
Okay, so if Baka accept his support, Baka should accept the statements that he made on his behalf. That's what I expect.
No.
That's all.
That's not how this works.
Let me say no. If you and myself, we are in a collaboration. If you and me,
let me tell you something.
We are in a collaboration. And I support you as president. I support you as president.
Let me give you one example. Let me give you one example.
One second.
That's the water. 1 second. 1 second. Let me give you one example. Barack Obama running for president. He has a pastor right here that he usually visits. He visited a few times at the in Philadelphia. The pastor make a remark.
Jeremiah
Wright. And people got on Barack Obama. You gotta disassociate yourself. It's gonna ruin your campaign. What did Barack Obama do? I will tell you what he did.
He disassociated himself with the pastor.
No, he did not.
He did.
No, he did not.
No, I will find Obama's speech. I will find Obama's speech.
He did not.
And send it to you.
I will tell you what he did.
He did.
I will tell you what he did.
What did he do?
He did not disaffiliate himself. he gave a speech, and that speech did not say whether or not he was disaffiliated. What happened is Jeremiah Wright went into exile. Barack Obama never disaffiliated with Jeremiah Wright. He explained to them what politics is as a constitutionalist. He explained to them. His speech is there. If you want to see the speech, you can see the speech. The speech is still there as a record. He explained to the public. Listen,
I have read that speech
to the
3
public,
different times.
he explained to the public the rights, the voting rights of every individual, how it doesn't, anybody running for president, what are their rights, what they need to say, how they can say things independently, and that nobody else can be held responsible for what somebody said. Despite them supporting the person, you got no control over the person. That's the speech he gave. Everybody became quiet.
Okay.
And
So
he went on to win the
add something
election.
that you are not adding? In addition to what you said, this is what he also said. He said that Pastor Jeremiah Wright was the one that officiated his wedding, baptized his children.
Precisely.
He have never heard Jeremiah Wright talk about America
in that faction.
The way in which the videos that people were playing.
Yeah.
So this is what he said. He said that Jeremiah's right views about America does not represent his view. That's distancing himself.
That's not
distancing himself.
Oh,
he is saying his view does not represent my view. JB did not say the thing that you were talking. It doesn't represent me. He didn't say that. He didn't say that.
Okay.
Who is he going into collaboration with?
Okay, what I was getting off.
Well, yeah.
You set us up today. Right?
Yeah.
Right,
because
Mr. He set us up, right?
But you know what?
I got
to come in. I think it was a fascinating discussion. I don't regret, us going the length at which we went. I think this is very important. It has been the issue of of the week, and so we have to talk about it the way we did. But yeah, Mr. Kramer. Your last comment, we'll have Minister almost simply last comment, and then we're going to cut it a bit.
Yeah, let me just give my parting comment. Yeah, I just want to say thanks to our viewers for listening. We talk on this whole CPP comment issue, but at the end of the day, when we as leaders decide to run for any seat, as a matter of fact, the purpose, the reason why we are getting into this race is because of the people. Even though you are going as an individual, but you are going to represent people. So if that is forgotten, then there's no need, I just want to end on that note. Yeah.
All right, brothers. I beg to leave.
Just give your parting comment and then you can leave.
No, I just want to say thanks to our viewers for listening to this debate, and the debate to continue. But we beg your indulgence, and we will hope to speak on the other topics that are very important, and we will move that for the next Saturday. Thanks for viewing this. Please give us your opinion on the conversation that was held today. It became a little heated, but that's what we call, disagreeing to agree, and this is done only in the interest of our beloved country. And these conversations, I think, is being held also all over the zinc shacks, in the back of the house, under the tree, on the coconut tree, on the beaches, when people sitting there. I'm sure these conversations are happening, and there are people debating these issues. So we just wanted to bring it live to them, and just to share some of those opinions with you guys. So thanks to the viewers.
Have a good weekend.
Well, thank you, everybody. And to just close, I say thanks to Musime. Your opinions are always of great value to this platform.
Yeah.
Minister Kuman as well. Thank you for
Okay.
always being here to share it.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing everybody next week for us to continue. This should tell you that we are very passionate about our country and the things that happen in our country. But as we move towards the 2023 general elections, expect heated debates like this. It's good, it's welcoming, and as Honorable Moses said, it is in the interest of Liberia, nothing personal. And so we say thank you. May God bless you. May your week be blessed. Have an awesome and wonderful service tomorrow. Until we see you next week, please send us your comments and everything. God bless you, and bye bye for now.